It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's complete, another touchdown!
Cougar Sports Saturday. A presentation of KSL Sports.
Left wing for three. He got it again!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here are your hosts, Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Welcome back in. It's Cougar Sports Saturday. Having a great show. Hour one in the books. We caught up with Max Hall. If you missed that interview, you can check it out on our podcast feed. Highly recommend subscribing to that. We put the whole show on there. Apple Podcasts, the KSL Sports app is a great place for all of your BYU and Utah. When I say Utah, I mean the state of Utah. Just to be clear here, yeah, the entire state of Utah is that content on the KSL Sports app, and then YouTube is a place. And look, there's a lot of places. One place though that I am dying to be, and I'm dying to get more info on this, is the Cruisin with the Cougs next year. Right now, let's bring on Troy Dunn, who's associated with that cruise. Troy, how you doing, man? Thanks for the time.
Hey, happy Memorial Day weekend.
Hey, I'm curious how this came about. Where was the first idea for this, and how did it come to be?
You know, I've been a BYU fan for years, but always lived out on the East Coast. We only recently moved to Utah. And if you're a super true blue Coug fan out on the East Coast, sometimes you're frustrated because you don't ever see the Saturday games. You don't go to all the big killer tailgate parties, and you don't run into, Tommy Bosco at Costco. Like, it's just you're so disconnected. So I just thought it would be freaking awesome if we could create an event where every Cougar fan could have close and ongoing access to some of the greatest legends and influencers inside the BYU sports program. It only came to reality because of a conversation with a very generous man named Sterling, who is the CEO of Mountain America, who helped us secure an entire cruise ship, 100% of the ship, and not a small ship. We had a small ship, and then Coach Sataki said more water slides, and he literally did because he knows that families will be coming on this as like a family experience, and it was prophetic because the bookings have come in with 2 and 3 generations of family are all coming. Grandparents are booking it, and their adult kids and their grandkids, and I just heard a call from somebody the other day who's been a season ticket holder since '64. Like, this is the ultimate. I don't know if we'll ever recreate it. We'll try to do it every year maybe, but we'll never recreate what's happening right now. The list of guests and people who are coming, I'm sure you've probably seen them. But I mean, Coach Sataki himself will be there the entire week. These aren't people who are popping on and sneaking off. This is 8 days of continuous access and playing. Actually, Coach Sataki insisted that he lead the belly flop contest. So we weren't planning to have one, but guess what? We are now. So Coach Sataki will be there with his family, and Tom Homo and Jennifer Rockwood and Chad Lewis and Robbie Bosco and Jimmer Fredette and Austin Colley and Heather Olmstead, Tyler Hawes, of course, Max Hall, who you were just chatting with, right? Jake Toulson will be there, Lee Johnson, Hans Olsen, TJ Hawes, Spencer and Jerem from Sports Nation are going to be there. Greg Rubel will be there, Cosmo, cheerleaders. By the way, the sports camps are coming. So they're going to be doing onboard sports camps in the middle of the ocean for all the sports. So for kids, families who have kids that want to be a Cougar in the future, I'd say get involved in that. I don't know what the space limitations are, but they're doing it. And I have to tell you, every day new people are popping on. Every day I get another text that says, hey, so-and-so's coming. I think yesterday's was Derwin Gray. We're booking all the entertainment. So this isn't like, well, we're all going to go on a cruise and do whatever it is the cruise ship has planned for us. No, because have you guys been on a cruise before?
I've been on a cruise, but Mitch over here is afraid of cruises.
Okay, well, let's address that in a minute because we're gonna help Mitch put his big boy cruise pants on.
Yes, let's do, Troy. Let's do it.
So when you get on a cruise for any other event, if it's not a charter, it is just getting on the ship and doing whatever the ship tells you they've got planned for the day, and then you choose, I do that, and I won't do that. But you don't have control over the environment, unfortunately, and I'm not down in cruising because I may be addicted to cruising. But if you go on a cruise with your family, it is possible you're going to see a couple of swimsuits that make you uncomfortable. There may be something in the comedy show that's a little edgier than you would have liked. You may not like half of the activities, etc. But because we have the entire ship, 3,300 passengers, all BYU fans, we are controlling the whole itinerary. So we're bringing in all the entertainers. I would say, to the best of my knowledge at this point, I think they're all LDS. We're bringing in, for example, for those who love Broadway music, which I know is Mitch, we're bringing Savannah Stevenson in from London. She was the star of Wicked. She'll be doing an entire Broadway show with David Osmond. So for Sunday, we're at sea on Sunday, so we still want to have a nice Sunday experience, even in the middle of the ocean. Hillary Weeks will do our morning, I guess devotional is the best way to call it. The Truman Brothers will be there doing our evening thing. I don't know if you've watched the new comedy special on Hulu by Steve Solberg. He's killing it, one of the top-rated comedians in the country right now, sold-out tour. He's coming and doing a full night of comedy. Emily Nelson's coming. We're booking some people right now that we haven't contractually been told we can say out loud, but we will here in the next couple of weeks. But it's nonstop growing, and I haven't looked at the reservation list. Do we have Mitch and Matt on this cruise?
You've sold me already. I'm getting on this cruise, Troy.
I need to be on. And Troy, this sounds epic. Again, talking with Troy Dunn, CEO and founder of Charter King, part of Cruisin with the Cougs, which takes place April 11th to the 18th, 2025, the official cruise of BYU Athletics. How can people like ourselves, me and Matt, how can we get reserved and get on board to this epic event?
Yeah, so you and Matt should talk to me on the side. We'll figure out something special because we'll put you to work on the ship.
I want to be put to work. I'm ready to work day and night, Troy. This is right up my alley.
But for everyone else, including my own friends and family, the first thing you have to do is you have to rush, because I will say this, we've done quite a few charters in our life. This is the fastest selling charter we've ever done. And it's just because the Cougar Nation is so hungry to have a killer experience, and because we have the whole ship. Charters are very different than getting on a cruise. This is not a cruise. This is an experience that happens to be happening on a cruise ship. Very different, very big. It's like comparing watching a Cougar football game from home on the TV versus sitting on the 50-yard line in the stadium. It's that different of an experience. But we've got a website set up, BYUcruise.com, BYUcruise.com. You can go there and book. You cannot call any cruise lines. There's no other place on planet Earth that you can book yourself onto this. It is a charter. So we're using Royal Caribbean's ship, Navigator of the Seas, the one that Coach Sataki chose with all the extra water slides. But you can't call Royal Caribbean and get on. They have no access to it. It's just a private charter. So you got to go to BYUcruise.com. If you'd rather call, it's 844-BYU-BOAT, 844-BYU-BOAT. And we'd get you set up. And honestly, I don't want to say anything that makes me sound like a salesman, but we'll be done. We'll be taking a waiting list middle of the summer. I mean, it's amazing. But for those who do get a cabin and get on, it's going to be a life-changing experience. You can actually throw down a $250 deposit, hold a cabin while you get the family organized, sit down tomorrow, Sunday dinner, tell everybody who's available, April next year, let's do this, and bring the whole family. You will punch yourself somewhere in the facial community if you miss it.
This sounds unbelievable, man. Anyone who's even considering it. Here's the thing, Mitch has never been on a cruise. Won't go to. I'm like you.
I will go on the cruise with the Cougs.
I want to cruise every second of my life because it's a lot of fun. But then you throw in the element that you've talked about, because he's touched on an important thing, Mitch.
Yes.
Having control of the itinerary is everything. Because there's days where when you're at sea, we're like, geez, this play, I don't know if I want to see this. I don't know if I want to do that. Then there's the food element on too. Like day and night, this thing it sounds jam packed, Troy. Like
It is literally every hour, and I hate saying literally because it makes me feel 14 years old, but literally every hour of the day is a BYU event activity going on somewhere in the ship, whether they're the sports camps, whether they're Coach Sataki's going to break down game film with us like as if we were the team. There's going to be some current players that are going to be on there that are going to be involved in some stuff. We may or may not be spending a lot of money to bring on a lifelike Family Feud set so that players can go against fans on some game show activities. We may or may not have some major Utah sponsors who are giving away some outrageous prizes on those games. Like, it is all day nonstop. But I have to ask Mitch really quick. I know I'm probably out of time. Why are you afraid, or what is it about the cruise thing that scares you? I don't want to fix.
I've just never the idea of being in a room underwater. I think that's the only thing. But everything else just sounds amazing.
Okay, so let's address that real fast, because I would just want to reiterate to everybody who's listening, this is not taking place on a submarine. So I'm not sure. There are no underwater rooms. I don't even know where this came from. Unless you're on the crew and you're down in the galley of trash, there are no cabins where you're looking out at water at your window level. That's not a thing. That was Titanic, and that was a bad day for. So just know that they're all above water level. People who go, I'm going to get seasick. Okay, well, that hasn't been a thing in 15 years, because they have these massive stabilizers under the ships now. There's this huge metal bar that runs across the center of the ship with what looks like an SUV hanging on it. And every time the boat even starts to tip a little bit, that SUV slides to the other side of the ship, and it keeps the boat level in the water. This is just a floating city. Yeah. It's a floating city. It's just Provo on the ocean.
You can't underestimate how big it is. Like, you won't feel tight. You won't feel constrained. Like, a massive city is a great way Troy just put it.
That is even more true now when you get on this ship. Have you been on this ship particularly?
I've not been on this ship, but I've been on a lesser one. And I'm dying to go on this one. Those slides look amazing.
Yeah, so check this out. So if you go on a ship, like, there's cabins at all prices, just like going to the football stadium, right? There's cheap seats and there's the ones at the top. So same with the cruise ship. There's interior cabins, which are the least expensive cabin. You can get on there for very cheap. And for some people, that's plenty, because you're not going to be in your cabin. You're going to be out and about doing stuff, and then you're just going to – all the rooms look the same with your eyes closed.
Yep.
However, what's cool about this ship is even if you chose to get an interior cabin – these interior cabins, most of them have windows. Now, who's heard of a window? Because you're inside the middle of the ship. But it's because this ship is so big that there's basically what's like a main street down the center of the ship. So the interior cabins are looking out of their windows down into this main, like, shopping street district thing. It's huge. It is a city. It is a city.
Troy, this has been awesome. Troy Dunn, CEO and founder of Charter King, part of BYUCruise.com, Cruisin with the Cougs. Next year, April 11th to the 18th. Kalani Sitake is going to be there. Jimmer Fredette. I mean, the list of people, Tom Holmoe, Chad Lewis. Awesome list. Are we going to see Coach Young? Is Coach Young going to join next year, too, after they go to the Final Four?
So I'm not qualified to answer that question.
Okay.
Let me just – things are in flux.
Okay.
Every day for the next few weeks, we will be announcing some other legends that are indeed definitely coming. If I said to you, name 10 BYU legends off the top of your head, I would bet 7 of them are on this trip. 3 of which I know we can't announce yet. And I don't know why. It doesn't make me a happy camper, but we can't. But they're going to be there. By the time we get to announce it, the ship will have already been sold out. But my point is, if you're wanting to hang out with the true blue legends, this is the week to do it. All week long. Like, you're there. They're there all week.
It sounds amazing.
If you want.
Troy, this is awesome. BYUCruise.com. This didn't really need a sales pitch, but you hit this out of the park. This sounds like a slam dunk for any BYU diehard. They got to get on there, and you can do it at BYUCruise.com. Troy Dunn, thanks for the time, man. We appreciate it, and go Cougs, right?
Thanks, Troy.
Matt, I'll see you on board. Go Cougs.
Yes, go Cougs. All right, we got to take a break. We'll have more BYU football and BYU hoops coming up on the other side.